Good morning. My name is Susan Urban. I'm actually in Richmond, Kentucky this morning, presenting a service for the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Madison County. I was a bit disappointed when I found out that I wouldn't be available in person to speak today on the topic of stewardship for MUUC, but Jill suggested that I make a recording. I thought that was a great idea, so here I am, sort of. I and my husband Phil Cooper live in Trout Lake, Michigan, about 130 miles away from the MUUC meeting house, so MUUC is not exactly local for us. We have been presenting musical services for MUUC since 1998. At first, it was just me presenting the services, with Phil and other musical friends occasionally joining me. When Phil and I became a duo in 2007, Phil started taking a more active role in planning and presenting services. When we first started presenting services for MUUC, the congregation was meeting in the basement of a place called the Village Inn near the Northern Michigan University campus. The meeting place made no difference, for MUUCers then, as now, were a vibrant, energetic, and thoughtful group of people. They were immediately supportive of this then fledgling UU circuit riding musical service presenter, and that meant more to me than I can even explain or express. For more than 20 years, I was a part of the MUUC community on a very part-time basis, presenting services about 4 times a year. I watched the congregation ebb and flow through changes in location and composition. At almost the same time as the pandemic hit, MUUC lost a number of active members to death or relocation. When the pandemic was at its height, the brave members who took over at that point moved the congregation to online services only. Now we are back in person, plus online, but attendance here, as at many religious organizations, has only just started to recover from the simultaneous impact of the pandemic and coincidental member attrition. Last year, in 2021, the congregation appeared to be at a crisis point. More members of the Board of Trustees were desperately needed to keep the congregation going, not to mention more pledging members. So I took a deep breath and volunteered for the board, of which I became the secretary. To be on the board, I also had to become a pledging member, and I did that as well. This was in addition to presenting services about once a month for MUUC on a volunteer basis. So why, you may ask, would you do all this for a congregation that you are too far away from to be a regular participant? The answer is love, plain love. I felt my heart breaking at the thought of this wonderful community ceasing to be. I hope that my efforts may help to bridge these desperate times and to see MUUC once again a prominent force for liberal religion in the Marquette area, and a source of community and support for a growing number of members. And yes, money is needed and necessary. There are always bills to be paid if we are to provide a meeting place for like-minded people. But just as important is time and talent. My path is the presentation of musical services. But what do you have to give that would bring you joy in the giving? Teaching children UU values? Carpentry or gardening? Finding and working with dynamic and interesting service presenters to attract new people on Sunday morning? Serving on a social action committee that will help to bring about needed changes in our world and get the name of the congregation out to the larger world? Helping homeless people when we can open our meeting house to them once again? The list could go on for longer than I have to talk, but as someone who was an active member of a then local UU community in Chicago for almost 20 years, I can assure you that working side by side with people who share your UU values will bring you more joy than you ever thought you could feel. The late mythologist, writer, and lecturer Joseph Campbell urged us to follow our bliss. We urge you to follow it here. You will not be disappointed. Blessed be.